Welcome to Careless Coder, and today we will be hacking Outrun on the Sega Megadrive. Or Genesis, depending on where you're from. Motherfucker! So a couple of months ago I did a cover of the song Splash Wave from Outrun. And after that I've been playing Outrun quite some time on my Genesis. But I never ever in 35 years, not on the arcade, not on the Genesis, managed to get to one of the 5 finish lines. Because I drive like Captain Slow.
You mean you drive more like Hammond?
Oh, ow, ow, ooh, ow, whatever. Anyway, so I figured let's hack the game for the Genesis and put the hacked ROM on this nifty little Everdrive and then play it on the real hardware like it is intended and finally get to all of the finish lines. Not just one, but all of them. So like Voultar says, let's do it to it. Oh yeah. So as usual, we first start by downloading the ROM and I extract it into my main Megadrive folder. And then I realized I needed to create a subfolder called Outrun. So I created that. That keeps it a bit more organized. Now I'm starting the MAME Genesis emulator with MAME Genesis in debug mode, pointing to the cartridge file. Here I'm looking up the memory map for the Sega Megadrive because I'm going to dump the RAM. And the RAM is conveniently located in the last 64 kilobytes. Here I'm preparing a dump statement with T70, that is the time remaining 70 seconds, and I'm dumping the whole 64 kilobytes. So I start in the game, waiting until I hit 70 seconds remaining, then press enter. Then I wanted to dump 63 seconds, but I typed 53. So that was not intended. So I did a 55 and I had time to actually do a proper 53, and I also dumped a 48 second remaining. That way I have 4 files to actually locate where these are. I start compare again, start with the 70 seconds remaining, and I pick the next one, and I lost where my directory of MAME is. Where is it? There it is. The same place it was yesterday. Megadrive, T55. And then compare. And 64K is a lot of memory to compare, but I quickly found it. Here we see a 700 and a 55. Now I'm checking again with a different set of files. Look up FFF130 again. Where is it? Bugger me, there it is. 70 and 0503, so that is it. FF130 contains the tenths of the second remaining. Here I set a breakpoint or watch point for FFF130 to read to see where it is set. It's set in A1. Okay, I clear it, and now I set a write breakpoint to see when it's updated. And here I see it's written to with a subtract statement. We subtract 1 from the tenth position and then decrement the memory pointer. And the memory pointer points to FF130, so I'm thinking if I just change this subtract into a no operation, we basically not subtracting any of the tenths of the second. And I'm saying this wrong, it is actually the 10th, whatever. You know what I mean, the big digit. I looked up the knob instruction opcode 4E71. I start hex curse, browse to 3582, where that sub queue is, and I change 5320 into 4E71, basically overriding it with a knob, starting the game, setting another watch point on FF130 to be sure, only to run into a checksum error. Bugger, I hate checksums. In this case. I'm caught in an infinite loop and I'm browsing how I got into this infinite loop here. And I see a return statement and a compare before that with a branch not equal to 3AC, which jumps over the RTS. So I figured if I change that branch not equal into an RTS as well, we always return from this subroutine, this check. So that is what I'm documenting here. I'm going to change branch not equal, so 6602, to actually an RTS, which is 4E75. It's time to start hex curse again. Jump to that memory 3A8 and change 6602 into 4E75. I save it and I keep my fingers crossed. Let's start MAME. And all of a sudden it feels like an eternity waiting to see if you actually broke the checksum error.
Yes.
Now let's see if indeed the 10th position is not rolling over. So 70 seconds left. Oh yes, it is hacked. You can hear that I'm happy about this. And yes, I do drive like Hammond from Top Gear. Let's chuck this bastard on my SD card. In you go. It's tighter than last time. Copied it on it. Put it in the Everdrive.
Let's go.
Into the trusty old Megadrive 2. Copy it into the flash RAM. And there it is. It's starting. So now I can drive to the finish line for the first time in 35 years. Now actually this video was inspired by this guy that I'm following. His channel is called Retro Arcade Music Man. And he tells stories about the first time that he plays a video game. And the first time that I found Outrun is actually a really nice story. And that triggered me to make this video. When I was 14, we moved to what is now for me the next town over. Getting there in the middle of the summer meant that all kids were on a holiday with their parents, and I basically was alone. Sure, I had a brother who was 6 years younger, but when you're 14 and your kid brother is 8, you don't really hang around. So I explored the town myself, and across the street, oh my god, I do drive like Hammond. Anyways, across the street is this strip mall with a little snack bar. I go into the snack bar and instead of buying a croquette, I see the Outrun arcade and I'm instantly hooked. I put in a guilder, and a guilder, guys, is the equivalent of $1 back then in 1987. I'm playing this game, I get to the second stage and I see the whole scenery change. And wow, it was so amazing seeing that. And I was curious what the third stage would look like. I didn't manage to get to the third stage, so I ran back home, cut the rest of my 5 guilder allowance, and played for another 20, maybe 30 minutes, never reaching the third stage. So I ran out of money and I figured, what can I do for money? Because asking my parents is a no-go. And as I'm walking around this strip mall, I get to the back of the supermarket, and there they stored all the empty bottles. Now in Europe you pay a 25-cent deposit on a bottle. Oh, sorry Hammond. So I stole a shitload of bottles, and back then they were made from glass, so they weighed a ton. And I made several trips to the supermarket a couple of blocks further because I didn't have the guts to hand in the stolen empty bottles to that same supermarket where I stole them from. So I collected about 12 guilders or something like that. And I started playing this game. And about 40 minutes in or something, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it is the owner of the snack bar. And he goes like, "Yo kid, where do you get all that money from?" And I look at him and I don't know what to say. I feel the tingling in my neck, I feel my face going red, and I just ran out of that snack bar. So I ran out, and the 6 months that we lived there, I never been to that snack bar. One night my parents went eating there and of course asked if we joined, and I was like, nah, I don't really feel like it. Which must have been weird because I love croquette and french fries, but yeah. And still after 35 years, I feel a little guilty. So Mr. C1000 supermarket, if you want the equivalent of 12 guilders, 5 euros, give me a call, I will reimburse you. Thank God that the interest is 0% these days. 35 years of interest, ooh, I couldn't afford that. And there it is, guys. After 35 years, I finally reached the finish line. That's such a cool little gag. Brilliant. So there you have it, Outrun on the Genesis hacked. It was really an easy hack, except for that little dodgy checksum error with the red screen, but that was very, very quickly solved, much to my amazement. And even though this is basically a 32-bit processor, so you have a lot more memory to look for, it went very, very quickly, I have to say. I even was amazed as to how quick it went. Also kudos, of course, to the MAME tool set for that. So I hope you learned something. I hope to see you in the next one. And I will steal some more empty bottles and play some more of the arcade version somewhere. Cheers!